Hello everyone, welcome to the video. This is your second stimulus check update video. Here we would go over what we know so far regarding the second stimulus check, the stimulus package, the HEALS Act, and the extended unemployment benefits. I have gone through all the current news and information available, and these are the most relevant and important ones that we have for today. As always, I will link all these articles in the description below if you want to check them out yourself. Just a final reminder, this is not a political channel. This is a channel on personal finance and investing. Obviously, we will be talking about Republicans, Democrats, the White House, the president, and different members of the Congress. My only request is let's be respectful towards each other in the comment section below, even if you support the other party. With that being said, let's dive right into it. So the first article we would be looking at is from Forbes.com. Did you get a second stimulus check today? Here's why. Some Americans are seeing a surprising second stimulus check already deposited in their bank account this week. Was that some kind of mistake? Not at all, and here's why. The stimulus check created by the CARES Act was signed into law back in March. It created a $1,200 check for single filers who earned less than $75,000. Joint filers who earned less than $150,000 received $2,400. Those with dependents, ages 16 and younger, received an additional $500 for each dependent. There was one very specific scenario that led to an underpayment of the stimulus check, and this week the IRS is getting around to making it right. If you qualify for a stimulus check but were not required to file a tax return and used the IRS non-filers Enter Payment Info Here tool to enter your information before May 17th, there was a programming error that didn't include any of your dependents. The IRS sent you a check for your economic impact payment, or EIP, but you didn't get the $500 per qualified dependent. The IRS explained that there was a programming error that they fixed on May 17th. So only those people who entered information before that day missed out on the $500 per dependent. If this described your situation and you've been wondering why, now you know why that amount was missing. Fortunately, you don't need to do anything because the IRS is sending out a second stimulus check covering the missing amounts this week. The IRS has updated its website to explain the delivery schedule and how it would be executed. The IRS will automatically issue the additional $500 EIP per qualifying child to affected individuals in early August for those who use the non-filers tool before May 17th, 2020. You can use Get My Payment to check the status of the $500 EIP per qualifying child, and you will receive another notice in the mail letting you know the $500 EIP per qualifying child was issued. If you received your EIP by direct deposit, the additional $500 EIP per child will be direct deposited to the same bank account. If you receive the EIP in the mail, the additional $500 EIP per qualifying child will be mailed to your address of record. If you use the non-filers tool on or before May 17th, your EIP included the $500 per qualifying child. For the most part, you will receive the additional $500 per dependent in the same way you received your first stimulus check. It's unclear what will happen for those Americans who received their check as a debit card. My educated guess is that it will come as paper check in the mail since the debit cards were a change late in the process. You could check your debit card balance to see if the amounts were added, but I suspect it'll be mailed by check. So guys, obviously it's not great that some people missed out on the $500 benefit for each dependent, but I do think it's a step in the right direction that the IRS is taking measures to fix it, and most of the payments have already gone out, if haven't gone out already. So guys, that is it for this article, and here are some useful links at the bottom of this article if you want to check it out yourself. Also, I try not to cover information I've already covered in a past stimulus check update, so if you have time, I highly recommend checking out the second stimulus check update playlist I have created for you. I will link that in the iCard here. Also, I would say if you guys have some useful information and you think people would benefit by knowing that, leave the link in the comments below so others can find it easily. Also, if you think someone will find this video helpful, feel free to share it with them. So, moving on to the next article. No stimulus deal, but President Trump may issue these executive orders. Negotiations over the next stimulus check package concluded today without a deal. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin met with Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer for several hours in an effort to reach what some hoped would be an overall agreement today. And we will dig deeper into what that meeting entailed in a minute. Speaking after the discussions, Mr. Schumer described it as a disappointing meeting. He said that they reiterated their offer to reduce the $3.4 trillion cost of the HEROES Act bill by $1 trillion if the Republicans would increase the $1 trillion cost of the HEALS Act by $1 trillion. While this would still leave a gap of $400 billion, Mr. Schumer said they would then begin to meet in the middle. Mrs. Pelosi said that the cost of the HEROES Act could be reduced by limiting the time period of some benefits, although she didn't provide specifics. The key issues holding up a deal appear to be enhanced unemployment benefits and aid to state and local governments. On unemployment benefits, the HEROES Act calls for a continuation of the $600 federal benefit until January 2021. The HEALS Act, proposed by the Senate Republicans, calls for a $200 benefit, later replaced with a system to give the unemployed 70% of their prior income. Mr. Mnuchin said that they made a compromise offer on unemployment benefits, but the Democrats were unwilling to compromise. He did not provide details of the offer. As for state and local government aid, the HEROES Act calls for about $1 trillion in spending. While the Republicans were willing to provide some aid, it falls far short of what the Democrats have proposed. According to Mr. Meadows, 2 weeks ago, Democrats wanted a $915 billion for state and local aid, and their position hasn't changed. Both sides said they were willing to hear and compromise proposals from the other side. Neither side indicated when they may meet again to continue negotiations. So where we stand today, things are not looking very good. President Trump's executive orders. Having failing to reach either a comprehensive deal or a more narrowly targeted compromise, attention turns to President Trump. Mr. Mnuchin said they will recommend to the president that he move forward with issuing some executive orders. They acknowledge that this is not the first choice. Specifically, Mr. Mnuchin said that they will recommend that the president issue executive orders in 3 areas: enhanced unemployment benefits, rental foreclosures, and student loans. He didn't provide specific details on what relief the president could or would provide in each of these areas. Mr. Schumer has said that such action by the president would result in litigation. Based on a tweet Trump made yesterday, he also still considering a payroll tax cut. Stimulus check update. In addition to unemployment benefits, many have been anticipating a second stimulus check. While there are some differences in the proposals under the HEROES Act and HEALS Act, these do not seem to be keeping the parties from reaching an agreement. Economic impact payments, however, will not go out until the legislation is agreed upon and signed into law. As a result, the timetable for the second round of stimulus check is unknown. So guys, I'm gonna make some assumptions here. I think it's pretty safe to assume that there will be a second stimulus check. All the signs point to that. It's just unfortunate that both parties cannot come together to an agreement. So it's experiencing some delays, but both parties are in agreement that there has to be a second stimulus check. So leave in the comments what are your thoughts on this matter. Also, let me know, do you think President Trump would eventually have to resort to using executive orders if Congress cannot come to an agreement? Do you think that we would see that executive order take place? Let me know in the comment section below. Also guys, if you find videos like this useful and helpful, or at the very least interesting, please give it a thumbs up. It lets me know that you guys found this helpful. So moving on to the next article, stimulus update. A lot of progress made on enhanced unemployment extension, but major disagreement is delaying it and stimulus checks. Democratic and Republican leaders are set to meet Friday to discuss a broad stimulus bill, which would include a second round of stimulus check to help Americans cope with the economic fallout of COVID-19 pandemic. The two parties are finally making progress, including on replacing the expired $600 weekly enhanced unemployment benefits. They are still in disagreement, however, on funding for states and schools. We have major disagreements between us on the schooling in terms of the dollar amount, but also how the money would be spent. The president is insisting that most of the money they're allocating would go to schools that are opening in person. But across the country, school districts are saying largely, overwhelmingly, that they will be opening virtually or in a hybrid fashion, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin told reporters Thursday evening that the two parties are closer on issues including another round of PPP loans, a second stimulus check, eviction protections, and rental payments. Mnuchin even said we've made a lot of progress on enhanced unemployment benefits, which expired the week ending July 25th and were a major point of disagreement between the two parties. Among other remaining major points of disagreements between Republicans and Democrats is state and local funding. Democrats would still like to see over $1 trillion set aside for state and local governments, which are dealing with massive COVID-19 related budget shortfalls. We're still very far apart on that. The president is not going to do a deal that has a massive amount of money to bail out states and locals, Mnuchin said Thursday evening. The White House Senate Republicans and House Democrats all support sending another round of $1,200 stimulus check to Americans. So, like I said, guys, all parties are in agreement on the point of the second stimulus check. It's just getting delayed based on the negotiations they're having on the other items. It's unclear if the two parties can come to an agreement by the end of Friday, the Republicans' self-imposed deadline. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows told reporters on Wednesday a stimulus deal would become much less likely to pass, if at all, if Republicans and Democrats don't make progress or agree to a deal by the end of the week. And guess what, guys? They have not agreed to a deal by the end of the week. So that's it for this article. Let's move on to the next one. Stimulus checks and enhanced unemployment delayed further with Democrats and Republicans unable to compromise. Democratic and Republican leaders left their Friday meeting without an agreement or much progress on a broad stimulus bill, which would include a second round of stimulus checks to help Americans cope with the pandemic. It was a disappointing meeting. We reiterated in very strong terms our offer. We come down $1 trillion from our top number, which was 3.4, and they go up $1 trillion from their top number, which was 1 trillion. and that way we could begin to meet in the middle, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer told reporters on Friday. Schumer told reporters that White House officials rejected that offer. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin walked out of the Friday meeting and told reporters the two parties are closer on a number of issues, including for schools, but disagreements remain on state and local funding and enhanced unemployment benefits. The latter, which was $600 per week, expired the week ending July 25th. We've asked them for a specific compromise on state and local and specific compromise on enhanced unemployment. We have not received proposals from Democratic leaders on that, Mnuchin told reporters on Friday. I think if we can reach an agreement on state and local and enhanced unemployment, we will reach an overall deal. If we can't, we can't. The White House, Senate Republicans, and House Democrats all support sending another round of $1,200 stimulus check to Americans. It's unclear if the two parties can come to an agreement by the end of Friday, which marks the Republican self-imposed deadline. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows told reporters on Wednesday, a stimulus deal would become much less likely to pass, if at all, if Republicans and Democrats don't make progress or agree to a deal by the end of the week. Data released Friday showed that the unemployment rate dropped from 11.1% in June to 10.2% in July, soundingly beating the consensus estimate. However, it means that 16.4 million Americans are still out of work, 3 times the jobless levels pre-COVID-19. A jobless rate remaining above double digits could pressure Congress to make a deal. So while we do see that the unemployment rate is coming down, I think we can all agree that it's still extremely high. 16.4 million Americans are still out of work, guys. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of the news that we covered today and what are your thoughts on the current situation. So these are all the latest news that we have for today. As more information comes to light, I will keep you guys updated. So if you guys want to remain updated on the stimulus check and the stimulus package and all the discussion that's going on in Congress, you might want to consider subscribing to this channel so that way you would always know exactly when these videos come out. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. It lets me know that you guys found this video helpful or at the very least interesting. So that's it for this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoy your weekends. Bye-bye.